It was the year 1998. At Immaculate Conception Parish in South Chicago, the pastor, Father Michael Enright, was very concerned about several conflicts related to the young members of the South Chicago community. Father noticed that even though the youth were receiving education through the public school system, some of them could not read according to their grade level, so they did not have the opportunity to obtain scholarships that could facilitate their acceptance to high-performing high schools. Unfortunately, at the local public high school, the students needed to fight to preserve their own lives. Father Enright had to bury at least one young man weekly, victims of the gangs that ruled the streets near his church. Being the son of two educators, Father Enright knew well that education could help to turn this situation around. With these tremendous needs and ideas in mind, Father learned from Mrs. Guadalupe Lupita Sandoval, a committed parishioner, about the Daughters of Mary Immaculate of Guadalupe, which was a religious order that she became familiar with while she lived in Mexico. Mrs. Lupita encouraged Father to reach out to the General Superior. The Provincial Superior of the North Province, Sister Luz Maria Ramirez, embraced with joy the invitation of Father Michael Enright because it was the 100th anniversary of the death of servant of God Jose Antonio Plancarte. Through the Holy Spirit, the Provincial Council chose Sister Maria de Jesus Núñez Armas and Sister Maria Ocampo Garduño to be the first two sisters that founded the mission house of Jose Antonio Plancarte and La Bastida. Father Michael Enright had rented a small house on Exchange Avenue around the corner of Immaculate Conception Parish, and eventually the sisters arrived. Moving to America meant a lot of changes for the sisters. They had to learn a totally new culture. Sister Luz Maria thought that it would only take about 3 months for the sisters to learn English because a group of sisters that were sent to Rome were able to learn Italian in approximately 3 months. However, it didn't work out the way she had planned. The sisters faced the difficulties of acquiring the language and adapting to American weather, cuisine, and culture, all while coordinating the catechesis program and preparing to reopen the Immaculate Conception School. It was decided that Sister Maria de Jesus Núñez would be responsible for the kindergartners, and Sister Maria Ocampo would be the first grade teacher. Father Mike clarified to the sisters that English was to be the only language used at the school. The sisters worked arduously on the mission entrusted to them, and little by little they gained the trust of families in the community. They began promoting the school and translating important documents like the student handbook. They created a display with the most important information about the Guadalupano Plancartino schools, and after each Sunday Mass they invited families to consider joining the new school. That is how the sisters were able to register enough children to open kindergarten and first grade classes. They needed someone bilingual to become the school secretary, and that is how Mrs. Mercedes Rosales became hiring. A young married parishioner of good character and excellent presentation, Meche, as everyone called her, was in charge of attending to the needs of parishioners. Meanwhile, Mr. Agustin and Mrs. Angelica Guerrero gave a lot of support to the sisters while they worked to prepare their classrooms. Father Mike envisioned that any children from the migrant families in the community could be part of the school, regardless of their financial status. Nevertheless, an important requirement to be part of the school was the parents' involvement in responding to the school's needs. There was not a set tuition per se. Instead, families were encouraged to attend Sunday Mass and deposit a donation in the weekly envelope. This method would later become more organized. It became known as stewardship, a system where people were asked to share their time, talents, and treasures. That is how, on the much-awaited day in August of 1998, the sisters began their first day of school at last. Sister Maria de Jesus Núñez, in addition to being the kindergarten teacher, was named administrator of the school. The neighboring parish of St. Michael the Archangel had their own parish school. Their principal was Sister Judine Hilbing, a member of the Dominican Sisters of Springfield. Father Michael Enright asked her to support and give orientation to the Immaculate Conception Sisters. Additionally, he asked her to be the official principal of the new Immaculate Conception School. Sister Judine was a tremendous help to the sisters. The children attended Mass every Monday and Friday, and they had music class and choir practice to become adequately prepared for their participation in the Eucharist. Mr. Di Cristofano, who at the time was serving as director of music, made an agreement with Father Mike that he would become the music teacher for the new school. The sisters worked tirelessly with love and dedication, reviewing vocabulary in the afternoon to be able to teach their students in English. Mrs. Jose assisted Sister Mary Chewy in the mornings with the younger children. Meche, in addition to keeping up with her administrative tasks in the office, helped with the cooking of the lunches for the students. Time flies, and Immaculate Conception School's first year went by in a flash. The sisters organized the first graduation for the kindergarten students, which was presided by Sister Judine Hilbing and Father Michael Enright. Father Mike's dad, knowing of the great effort the sisters took in educating the children, attended the ceremony with a bouquet of flowers and gifts for the sisters, demonstrating his unconditional love for this new school. The first summer arrived and preparations needed to be made to open second grade. That is how the provincial superior and her council assigned Sister Fidelina as the superior of the community and Sister Maria Catalina as the future teacher of second grade. The religious and educational community continued to grow. The plan was that each year a sister could come to America to learn English and coordinate the catechesis program. The school now went up to second grade. The sisters could not fit in a small rented space anymore, so Father decided to purchase an entire house with 2 floors and a basement. It was located on the same street, Exchange Avenue, but now at number 8802. Father Michael, supported by a group of seminarians which included Joe Boland, who at that time barely knew Spanish, and Rafael Rincorino, worked arduously to have the house ready. Finally, the newly converted convent had all the space that the sisters needed, and a small chapel with the Blessed Sacrament was dedicated by Bishop Joseph Perry, Father Mike, and the associate pastor, Father Anthony Adebasuyi. The sister that was assigned to the next year could not continue as planned, so a lay teacher, Mrs. Cullors, was hired to open third grade. The sisters continued working with love and dedication, and Sister Claudia Carrillo and Sister Rosa Castro were sent a full year ahead to prepare in advance. While the sisters continued to grow in number and presence in the South Chicago community, the neighborhood would continue to have a high amount of gang violence. Sometimes the gangs hid from each other in the narrow alley in front of the sisters' house, to the point where shootings occurred there. Mr. Emilio, a neighbor who lived across the street and who had come to be named a spiritual brother, helped the sisters in cutting the bushes outside the house to deter gang members from hiding there. He would also keep watch over the house, shovel snow off its sidewalks, and show endless gestures of protection and respect to the sisters. In the school, there was a need to find someone to vigilantly guard the doors for the safety of the students and staff, so Mr. Arturo began his volunteer service. Don Arturo enthusiastically served as security guard for the IC school until the end of his days. He had been rehabilitated from severe alcoholism, so he decided to wear white clothes as a symbol of his new beginning. He was a great example of service and respect to the entire school community. 2 more sisters were sent to America to learn English, so room in the house was once again insufficient. To solve this dilemma, Father Michael decided to create a new convent in a building that had been leased to a women's rehabilitation center. While it was being fixed up, Father Mike and Father Tony moved to the sisters' house, while the sisters began living at the rectory, and the rectory's office remained open. Sister Claudia was assigned to enroll in a master's program to become the first official principal of the school while she continued being a 4th grade teacher. She graduated from her master's program at St. Xavier University in 2005. She became the first principal of IC in 2007, which was also the year Immaculate Conception had its first graduating class. During all these years of growth, it was necessary to hire lay teachers so that the students could have special classes. That is how, in the year 2003, Mrs. Kim Zofeld joined the school. She began her service as a science teacher and later became one of the junior height teachers. With time, Mrs. Kim became incorporated into the community and her 4 children have all attended our school. Another important member of the IC community is Mrs. Sylvia Gonzalez. At first, she worked at the rectory as a parent, but the sisters learned that she was a teacher and invited her to become part of the school. She began her service as a teacher for the kindergartners. As the school continued growing and the spiritual preparation continued developing, the school's material needs were growing too. Father Mike Enright asked the Lord for his help, and sometimes he even made jokes about the great difficulties that he faced. He was determined to find the much-needed resources. Several times he wrote articles in the newspaper about the unique reopening of Immaculate Conception School. Because of these articles, the school began receiving help in the form of financial donations, volunteer service, and discounts from local companies. Immaculate Conception School has thrived thanks to the support of many people and organizations, among them Sister Joan McGlinchey, Vicar for Religious Life in the Archdiocese of Chicago, Bishop Joseph Perry in Vicariate 6, and the Superintendents of Catholic Schools and Regional Directors of Vicariate 6C. The Big Shoulders Fund, which has believed in us since the beginning and has given both financial support, especially in the form of scholarships, and their love, friendship, and encouragement. Father Wayne Zvida, who became a priest after being a parishioner of Immaculate Conception Parish. He has always supported our school, regardless of which parish he's serving at currently. Neil Costello, Jack Kinsella, Julie Hughes, and Thomas Cleary. Wonderful men and women who did not hesitate in sharing their time, talents, and treasures with our school. Dr. Eileen Q. Knight, who also became a spiritual sister of the Daughters of Mary Immaculate of Guadalupe. As a doctor of mathematics, she helped our sisters to improve their work in math. The Hilton Foundation, Olga Rojas, an attorney from the Archdiocese of Chicago who has been extremely supportive and understanding in supporting each one of the sisters in their migratory status, and all of the parishioners that have given and continue to give their love, friendship, and support. Members of family and school associations that worked tirelessly to support Immaculate Conception School in many different ways. Jose and Nena Delgadillo, Silvia and Javier Peña, Ernesto and Elizabeth Munoz, Miss Araceli Roman and Mr. Javier Reyes, the Ferguson family, Karina and Enrique Falcon, Miss Claudia Gonzalez, Maria and Jaime Robles, Grant Crowley, the Pizania family, the Canales family, the Munoz family, the Zavala family, the Tamores family, Maru Hernandez, Miss Mary Hernandez, and the Rivera family. Norma and Carlos Ramirez, Las Frijoleras, Spiritual Brothers and Sisters of Immaculate Conception School, Joe Boland. After 16 years of service, it was time for Father Mike to be transferred to another parish in the year 2009. With the support of the new pastor, Father Ricardo Castillo, the school continued growing. Father Ricardo Castillo served as pastor of both the Immaculate Conception Parish and the Bronislava and Divine Infant Jesus Sanctuary. Sister Katia Alcantar finalized her master's program to become the principal at Immaculate Conception School in 2013, and she served with exceptional love, joy, and dedication. She worked with Father Miguel Martinez as the next pastor, and eventually with Father Jaime Reyes in the same role. In the year 2019, Sister Claudia Cadillo came back to lead the school with the pastor, Father Armand Ramirez. Sister Ilsa Gabriela Aguilar Castillo is the current principal of Immaculate Conception School. She leads with the support of Father Pius Cocose, the beloved pastor of Immaculate Conception, St. Michael the Archangel Parish. Immaculate Conception School is living proof of what servant of God Jose Antonio Plancarte, founder of the Daughters of Mary Immaculate of Guadalupe, said. Education is a true sacrifice, watered with tears, enlightened by love, and offered in the altar of the heart. During the past 25 years, Immaculate Conception School has been offering a great educational service thanks to the effort, selflessness, and generosity of many people. That is how the approximately 250 students that have graduated from Immaculate Conception School have made their mark on U.S. culture, becoming agents of change and transformation. They are now counselors, teachers, Marines, soldiers, doctors, nurses, accountants, and excellent parents. The Daughters of Mary Immaculate of Guadalupe have brought to life the wish of Jose Antonio Plancarte and La Bastida. 1,000 years would not suffice for all that I want to accomplish, but you will because you will live in your successors. Valor y confianza, courage and confidence.